video tutorial, we'll solve literal equations for a specific variable. Let's take a look at the literal equation negative 7x plus y equals 12. This is a literal equation because it has more than one variable, x and y. For this particular example, we are going to solve this literal equation for y. We are going to try to get y alone on one side of the equation. To do that, we have to get rid of the negative 7x. To get rid of the negative 7x or cancel it out on the left side of the equation, we can add 7x. Remember, what we do to one side of an equation, we have to do to the other side as well. Let's simplify the left side of the equation first. Negative 7x and positive 7x will cancel each other out, leaving just y on the left side of the equation. Notice that the operation is addition before y, making the value of y positive. Now we will simplify the right side of the equation. Notice 12 and 7x are not like terms, so these cannot be combined. So it is simply 12 plus 7x. By adding 7x to each side, we have successfully solved for y. One thing to take a look at is generally when we have terms with variables and terms without variables, we want to put those terms that have variables first. So we are going to switch around our 7x and 12. Notice that the value of 7x is positive. Therefore, when we move it, it needs to remain positive. The value of 12 is also positive, so we also need to keep its value positive when we move it. Therefore, our final equation when we solve for y is y equals 7x plus 12. Let's take a look at another example. 8x minus y equals negative 2. Again, we will solve this literal equation for y. To do that, we are going to have to get rid of 8x on the left side of the equation. To get rid of 8x, we can subtract 8x. What we do to one side of an equation, we have to do to the other side. Simplifying the left side of the equation, we know that 8x and negative 8x will cancel each other out, leaving negative y. It's important to realize that the value of y is negative because of the operation sign before it. Let's simplify the right side of the equation now. Like our first example, negative 2 and negative 8x cannot be combined. So we have negative 8x minus 2. We have yet to solve for y though, because currently we have negative y. To understand how to deal with this negative y, let's take a look at a quick side example, negative x equals 2. If negative x equals 2, then x equals negative 2. So what we can do is switch the sign of the variable if we switch the sign of everything else. So we can make y positive if we change negative 8x to positive 8x and negative 2 to a positive 2. So we have successfully solved for y now. Y equals 8x plus 2. Let's take a look at another example of solving a literal equation for one variable that behaves a bit differently than our first two examples. Once again, we are going to solve for y. First, let's get rid of 6x from the left side of the equation. To do this, we need to subtract 6x. What we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. Let's simplify the left side of the equation first. 6x and negative 6x will cancel each other out, leaving us with positive 3y. Looking to the right side of the equation, we will have negative 6x plus 12. Notice we have still yet to solve for y, because we have 3 and y being multiplied together. To undo multiplying by 3 and to be able to cancel the 3 out, we need to divide by 3. What we do to one side of an equation, we have to do to the other side. Let's take a look at the left side of the equation first. 3 divided by 3 is 1, leaving us with 1y. 1 multiplied by any number will be itself, so 1 times y will be y. Let's take a look at simplifying the right side of the equation now. We have to be careful because if we divide or multiply a side of an equation, we have to do it to everything on that side. So first we will do negative 6x divided by 3. This would be negative 2x. We also have to do a positive 12 divided by 3, which is a positive 4. So, we have successfully solved for y. Solving for y gives us an equation of y equals negative 2x plus 4. Let's take a look at another, slightly more complex example. Again, we will solve this literal equation for y. One rule to abide by when solving equations is to simplify each side of an equation as far as it can be before you start moving things from side to side. In this example, we can use the distributive property to simplify 3 times x plus 2. Using the distributive property, we would multiply 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times a positive 2, which is a positive 6. So this, 3 times x plus 2, simplifies to 3x plus 6. We will then bring down the rest of our equation and move forward solving our literal equation for y. Let's get rid of positive 6 on the left side of the equation. To do so, we can subtract 6. What we do to one side of an equation, we do to the other side. Let's simplify the left side of the equation first. A positive 6 and negative 6 cancel each other out, leaving us with 3x minus 2y on the left side of the equation. Looking to the right side of the equation, 18 minus 6 is 12. Now, we have to get rid of the 3x on the left side of the equation. To get rid of a positive 3x, we can subtract 3x. What we do to one side of an equation, we must do to the other side. Let's simplify the left side of the equation first. 3x and negative 3x cancel each other out, leaving us with negative 2y. Now let's simplify the right side of the equation. On the right side, we have negative 3x and a positive 12, so it's negative 3x plus 12. We are close to solving for y, but y is still being multiplied by negative 2 on the left side of the equation. To undo this, we can divide by negative 2. What we do to one side of an equation, we must do to the other side of the equation. Let's simplify the left side of our equation first. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is going to be 1, so we'd be left with 1y, and we know this simplifies just to y. Simplifying the right side of our equation, we know that when we divide by a number or multiply by a number on a side of an equation, we must do it to everything. So we will start by dividing negative 3x and negative 2. Most of the time, for the purposes of algebra, we can actually leave our numbers as fractions. So this would be 3 divided by 2, or 3 halves x. It would be positive because we have a negative divided by a negative. Next, we would do a positive 12 divided by a negative 2. This would be negative 6. So we have successfully solved our literal equation for y. Y equals 3 halves x minus 6.